To produce a single 1-liter jar of honey, bees must visit around 4 million flowers, and a single worker bee will produce only 1 gram of it throughout her entire life. What you can see first is the hardened cuticle, which is the bee's exoskeleton. It acts not only as a mechanical and protective barrier against pathogens or water loss, but also as an internal foundation to which immensely powerful muscles, for their scale, are attached. The surface of the head is densely covered with hair. Among these structures are mechanoreceptors, which inform the bee about the slightest air movement or the presence of pollen on its own body. The visible tiny spheres are the male reproductive cells of plants, pollen grains. Notice how the structure of hair facilitates catching them mechanically. The bee gathers pollen both by diving into a flower and while in flight. Beneath the head lie the chewing, lapping mouthparts. These powerful chitinous pincers are the mandibles. The bee uses them for kneading wax, building honeycombs, cleaning the hive, and for defense. On their surface are special trichoid sensilla, which are sensory hairs. In addition to the sense of touch, which facilitates precise engineering work in the hive, some of them act as chemoreceptors, allowing the bee to initially assess the physiochemical properties of the chewed material. The worker bee's compound eye consists of about 6,000 to 8,000 omatida or facets. Each of these miniature lenses registers a small fraction of the visual field, and the bee's brain stitches these thousands of partial images into a panoramic whole with a field of view reaching up to 300 degrees. Interestingly, the compound eyes of the honeybee are not perfectly smooth. They are covered in fine microscopic hairs that grow between the omatidia. They act as additional mechanoreceptors that help the bee sense wind speed and direction during flight. Furthermore, these hairs serve as a protective barrier, trapping dust and pollen particles before they can settle on the sensitive lenses, ensuring that bees' complex vision remains crystal clear, even in dusty environment. Hidden on top of the head are additional 3 small dots. These are the ocelli or simple eyes. They do not register detailed images, but rather act as ultra-fast light intensity detectors and sky polarization analyzers, allowing for precise navigation relative to the sun, even under heavy cloud cover. The antennae are the bee's primary movable sensory organs. They are set in flexible antennal sockets, allowing the insect to freely and tactilely scan its surroundings. A worker bee possesses thousands of microscopic sensory structures on them. This is where the plaszoid sensilla are located. These are sensory organs used for recognizing the pheromones of other bees, detecting the scent of flowers and nectar, orienting in the environment, and engaging in social communication within the bee colony. They take the form of thin oval plates embedded in the antennal cuticle. Inside are sensory neurons that react to volatile substances. Importantly, the antennae also house temperature and humidity receptors, as well as contact chemoreceptors, serving as organs of taste. A bee can evaluate the quality of nectar and its concentration level before it even unrolls its mouthparts. On the tibia of the third pair of legs lies the pollen basket, an evolutionary logistical masterpiece. It is a flattened, smooth depression surrounded by a fringe of stiff, curved bristles. During flight, the bee combs pollen from its body using brushes on its other legs, mixes it with a bit of saliva and nectar, and packs it here into a compact mass known as pollen load. Take a look at the pollen grains themselves under high magnification. Some are smooth, while others resemble spiked balls. These morphological outgrowths are an evolutionary adaptation of plants. Their texture is designed to help the pollen physically anchor into insect hairs. Many of these hairs are hollow mechanoreceptors set in flexible cuticular rings connected at a base to receptor cells. The condition of this hair is an indicator of bee's age. Young workers are fluffy and light-colored. Older bees become bald as the hairs inevitably wear off from squeezing through the narrow alleys of the hive and dense vegetation. The bee's leg is composed of 5 main segments. A close-up of the final tarsal segment reveals a dual grip system, a sharp chitinous claws, and a flexible pad located between them called the Arolium. When a surface is rough, the bee anchors itself with its claws. When it encounters a smooth flower petal, the Arolium unfolds, and through adhesion forces, it enables stable movement at any angle. Let's move on to the flight mechanism, which reveals one of the most fascinating aspects of biological microengineering. A bee has 2 pairs of wings. For flight to be aerodynamically stable and efficient, both pairs must form a single compact lifting surface in the air. The answer to this challenge is the Hamuli, a row of microscopic curved hooks located on the leading edge of the hind wing. Their number typically ranges from 17 to 28. At takeoff, when the thoracic muscles tense the structure, the hind wing moves forward, and these chitinous hooks automatically snap onto a specially folded rolled edge of the forewing. This creates a rigid mechanical coupling. When the bee lands and relaxes its flight apparatus, the hooks automatically pop up of the groove. This allows for the independent, safe folding of both pairs of wings along the abdomen, protecting them from damage in the tight spaces of the nest. The wings themselves are not merely dead membranes. They are densely reinforced with special ventilation. These chitinous tubes are essentially highways through which hemolymph circulates and where nerves and tracheal trunks delivering oxygen run. The wing joints at the base of the thorax demonstrate immense fatigue resistance, allowing up to 230 wing beats per second. This is precisely this high frequency of vibrations and air friction that generates this characteristic low-pitched buzzing sound. At the very end of the abdomen, the sting apparatus is not fixed in a visible position. In the honeybee, it is a telescopic organ. Hidden inside the sting chamber, it rests safely and is extended exclusively in an act of defense. I only managed to take a picture of a stinger on a different specimen once, so I'll show you just the photos. Due to the presence of backward-facing barbs on the lancets, stinging a mammal with elastic skin ends with the stinger anchoring in the flesh, tearing away with the nerve ganglia and resulting in the insect's death. Under the electron microscope, the honeybee reveals itself as an outstanding example of anatomical optimization. Every single element here serves a strictly defined biological function. This miniature biomachine is responsible for pollinating nearly 80% of our planet's crops. Without these microscopic structures, our macroscopic world would look completely different, or perhaps it wouldn't exist at all. Thanks for watching my video. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing to my channel. You can also check out my other interesting videos on the channel, like the one about the blue morpho butterfly.